Yes guys, what is up? Welcome to Supercars of London from inside my Golf GTI, which at the moment it is currently in its filthiest state yet. This morning we embarked on a 2-hour drive up to Roy Humphrey Prestige Cars. Near Ipswich, it's a place that I've never really explored, but these guys have got some amazing stock, and today we are here for one particular car. An incredibly rare car, and one, given all this time making YouTube videos and driving all sorts of crazy cars, one that I've never driven before. Now, early stages of 2023, I want to buy a car, a sports car that gives me a story to tell, and one that potentially is nostalgic. So originally, I started looking at R8 V8s with a manual gearbox to go back to my roots and my first supercar. Well, these guys have got a manual R8 V10.
Look at this place and some of the specs that I can see almost instantly. This is a Cayenne Coupe GTS in exactly how I would probably spec it from factory. The red brake calipers with the satin black wheels, and of course the G63s that are in the showroom have sold signs. These, well, I do know why, but they are just incredibly popular. No matter where I go, everyone that has them in stock sells them almost instantly. This Defender is also sold. Have a look at this 992 Turbo S with the aero kit in full nuke spec. Black wheels, black calipers. The ultimate when it comes to hypercar performance in a daily driver. And then down here we've got Porsches, AMG, there's an F-Type as well. And centre stage is this, a classic shape silhouette in the form of an Audi R8. The classic V10 wheels, the V10 side blades that that flare out. Got the V10 grille. There are so many small little details that differentiate the V10 to the V8. But this is why we're here. Forget R-Tronic, forget S-Tronic. We have got a 6-speed manual gearbox. Oh, it smells so good inside. I am in trouble. At very, very early stages of looking for my next car. I mean, we might have already found it. Christian, welcome to the channel.
Thank you.
And here we have the R8. We've been speaking on Instagram, and this isn't your job in terms of selling cars, although technically you are in charge of the first stage of selling cars.
Yeah, all photos, all media, making it look fancy for Instagram.
I mean, this looks so good. You're going to take me out, or well, I'm going to take us both out onto some local roads. Around here, it is stunning, and we've got the perfect weather for it too, although it's a bit cold.
A little bit cold, but roads look good now.
It's perfect. Do you want to start it up so that I can get my reaction of hearing it? Now this is going to be the make or break. If my neighbours are watching this, got a really nice deep rumble to it. So it's not a cold start. So you've obviously pulled it in this morning.
Put it in this morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was kind of nervous that this is going to start vibrating all of these windows around.
We've just moved it into the centre this morning. It's had a little pre-start up check.
Okay, good. Because it sounds really deep, but not as loud as some of the aftermarket exhausts that you can get. So hopefully, under load, it will sound really, really nice. But here, I didn't think that was that offensive.
It's not going to annoy your neighbours.
Exactly.
Unlike some things we've had in before. Aftermarket, this is just right.
I haven't driven a manual in a long time, but no stall kicks things off.
Okay, so we're going to turn right and go straight down the end here. It's the famous Humphrey runway.
It does look like a runway. Now I thought that I'd get like the blood flowing listening to a V8 and that clunk of a gear shift, But I think this exhaust has got a real nice sweet spot because the manual, or the V10 in general, when it came out, was quite quiet. V10, we going down here?
Yeah, so take first exit here.
But this is like, it's not intrusive, it's not droney.
It's a proper V10.
But you know what you've got?
And that clunk.
Yeah.
Mechanical clunk.
Because my Auto Trader search shifts from a manual V8 to the facelifted S-tronic V8 because I think, I could just slip it into auto mode and it's a much smoother gearbox than the R-tronic. I literally wouldn't buy or even entertain an R-tronic. And this has just almost instantly eradicated the thought of an S-tronic. I've just gone, nah, this is too cool to have such a large naturally aspirated V10.
We're going to take a left down here for some S-bends.
With this gearbox.
So national speed limit.
Just get a little bit of the sound of the... Yeah. You could listen to that all day. And I'm so rusty on the gearbox.
Roundabout, we'll go straight over onto the bypass.
How are you as a passenger?
It's comfortable.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable.
I mean, I'm having so much fun in the driver's seat of this car.
It's like an orchestra in the cockpit.
It is like, it is something that hopefully the sound will get picked up. I'm at 6,000 RPM. How cool is that? It's like the gearbox at slow speeds just kind of is super smooth, and the moment you get up into the revs, the responsiveness that comes from this gearbox, it's almost like it's catapulted into a different mode that it's like, right, this guy's actually driving on it now. And you can feel there's feedback down here and on the clutch pedal as well. That
it makes it easy, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh. It's very cool. We've just stopped off at Oaksmere Hotel to take a few photos. We went inside and had a drink. It was very, very nice. But just to see this car out in the flesh, to see it under natural light, outside of the showroom, it feels a bit more real just having it in a hotel car park in and amongst other cars, and you just get to see how good the lines are and how well this car has aged. And the one thing that I have noticed just trying to remember my experience with the V8 is just how much more this engine packs a punch. Feels like the perfect progression and the perfect way to start this year. So even though we've got the trade plates on, it makes it look a little bit silly and not quite mine yet. When we get back to the dealership, I'm too excited. I'm going to go out to the sales guys and start chatting about numbers, because this is, I mean, it could be my next car. I mean, let's get it started up again because I'm freezing. My fingers are going to fall off. Is going to be okay there. I've snuck back to the Golf GTI to give myself 5 minutes. I was getting very excited behind the wheel of the R8. The way that it just engages you and everything is so clinical in that car. I am blown away the fact that that car is 2009, it's done 54,000 miles. But I've come back to the Golf GTI because I want to kind of compose myself before I go into the sales office to discuss the potential purchase. Think about questions. I want to look at the finance again. I've used Forza Finance to get me the quotes on a V10 manual, the car I drove, a V8 manual at 42 grand, and then an S-Tronic facelifted Gen 1 V8. So here we go then. I've got 3 JBR Capital quotes. This is based on a lease purchase quotation using the Forza Finance inbuilt calculator. We've got a £42,000 V8 manual that's coming in at 10% deposit, 6,000 miles a year over a 4-year period. That usually creates the cheapest monthly payment, and I never keep a car for the full term of the agreement. You can always sell it, settle the finance, and then keep the difference. But we're coming in at £680 a month. That manual R8 is £50,000. That is coming in at £840, which means, when you think about it, it's 200 quid extra for the engine. 200 quid a month extra for the engine, which I think is pretty good value, especially when you compare slotting in a V8 S-Tronic in the middle of all of that, which is coming in at £725. Now, those numbers can be fine-tuned. When you get the right example of the car that you can put the number plate in, you get a much more accurate quote. I can fiddle around with the deposit a little bit, but coming in at £840, it's the most expensive, as you would expect. It's a 2009 car. It's got quite a lot of miles. All of those calculations that come into play when you consider what the end residual value is going to be. I'm just looking at it now because it's getting moved around so that I can go and have another look around it. But so far, the excitement levels are very high. I'm going to talk about service history. I'm going to talk about brake discs and pads. I'm going to talk about how well maintained that car is, how many owners it's had, what the clutch wear life is like. But so far from the drive that I had in it, it is such a tight, beautiful example of a manual R8 V10. It is very windy and cold out here. You can see where I've parked the Golf GTI. I'm about to jump back in the car, but I thought that I would come out to have one last look at the manual V10 R8 that seems to combine 2 cars that I continually lust after, 2 cars that I've owned in the past, the manual V8 R8 and also the Gallardo LP560 with the 5.2 litre V10. So here we are, I've just popped into the sales team, I've just had a look around, I've just been, well, meeting the team that are here, and to have a conversation talking about the finance of this car, having it alongside the Golf GTI, with everything that's been going on in the last 12 months, the way that I've been looking at getting mortgages, trying to figure out whether we're going to move, and whilst that is still very much in the plan, the reason why I'm looking at this price point is because I can have this car and the Golf GTI and be in a nice position where it's not going to have too much of an impact on the mortgage and actually moving on to the next chapter of my life. So I'm looking at this now. I love the spec of it. I love how clean it looks. Yes, it would be nice to have carbon side blades, but I am excited about the potential of this being my next sports/supercar. An amazing day up here. The guys here are absolute legends, so welcoming. And this estate is spectacular. And the cars that they've got in here as well are absolutely beautiful. But this one caught my eye on Auto Trader. It is the cheapest manual V10 in the country. And I took it out for a drive, loved it. That exhaust, by the way, is so good. It just emphasizes this being a proper modern classic supercar. But I'll leave it there, guys. We've had a great chat in there. Let's just say, maybe there'll be a collection video from Roy Humphrey Prestige Cars. My hands are freezing. It is so cold up here. The wind is swinging across this way, so I will be waving goodbye to the R8, jumping back in my Golf, a 2-hour drive home where I've got a lot to think about. But I've just brought you on the journey of what it could potentially be like shopping for an R8 like that. I will see you soon, guys. Take care, goodbye. Head into the link in the description to check out some of the cars that these guys have in stock because, yeah, they are legends. I'll see you soon, guys. Take care, goodbye.